Welcome to the big picture where we help you see.
Think and act big.
All right, so we are here in this wonderful barbershop slash lounge. Yes, so I'm with couple of good-looking guys here, including us. but here in the big picture, we try to invite as many people who have started their business, and this is a fairly new barbershop in Talisay, Cebu City, and I'm so eager to interview these guys because they're my high school batchmates, and yes, and I just wanna like get how they were able to start this. So be excited, and you'll learn a lot of things today. And let's start with asking them. And I'm with my co-host, by the way.
Hi, my name is Joseph. If you remember me. But anyway, Dave, before we jump into that, let's ask the guys. Let's ask the guys to introduce themselves, so our listeners and viewers will be able to get to know them more.
Yeah, hi. I'm Ivin. Currently, I'm connected with Bright Star Industries, and this is my first business venture with Schubert and Eric.
Good choice.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Well, second in line, hi, I am Schubert, and as mentioned, we're classmates way back high school in Don Bosco, and I'm the third of the company. So yes,
Um, Last but not the least, I'm Eric. And as you all know, we're very good friends. Well, including Dave here, who's also a good friend of ours. And I'm involved into corn growing, farming in the west coast of Cebu, in Asturias. And basically, I sell corn.
All right. So just to I don't know if you're gonna cover this later on, but can you talk also a little bit about what's your part in running Brass?
Maybe we could start with the story behind Brass. Yeah, and then we could get in with the individual. Who knows the story of Brass? Or of course, all of you.
well, 5 years ago, around 5 years ago, yes, when Ivan was still in his was still working in his previous company, San Miguel. He was assigned somewhere south, and he already brought up the idea of putting up a barber shop somewhere south in the locality of Naga. And then I don't know, but it just didn't push through. And so a few months back, we started communicating again, and over coffee, I hatched to him the idea of why not bring that idea back and go and enter the business of barbershop, since it's the only kind of business in which I could associate it with him. So, since 5 years ago he already mentioned it, maybe this time he would be interested.
Okay, so
Still.
basically you were the one who pitched the idea again.
Basically, yes, recently.
Yeah. So yeah.
And to add, actually, it was the concept last 5 years ago. It was only a plain barber shop. When Schubert this year, January this year, when I greeted on his birthday, yeah, that was the time he invited me for a coffee. And that's the time also that he mentioned to me this concept, a barbershop concept plus lounge. Yeah. So that's the time it started the concept of barbershop and lounge.
Yeah. So 5 years ago, you have this idea, right? Why did you pick that particular business? Why not, something else?
Plainly, barbershop is a service that men caters, I think, at least once a month or once every three weeks or something. And in this business, we can it's we don't have any perishable goods. So we only have service.
Service, yeah.
So that's what we cater the service.
Yeah. So if you come here and visit Brass, you could actually see the very wonderful interior design, and they have a wonderful lounge over here. We'll show you pictures later on the show notes. This is episode 12, by the way. So the big picture.ph/episode 12. We'll get you the show notes and the links of everything, and the profiles of our handsome guests here. So basically, I'm wondering, like, because a lot of business always starts with partnerships, and I've been associated with some businesses with partners, and I do know the struggles of starting a business with friends. And personally, I have met like instances that had conflicts. That's natural, right? So have you ever encountered any hardships when building this business?
So far, none.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Hopefully
seriously,
never.
yeah. Hopefully, yeah. But when we started this business, we had a pretty good idea of each other's personalities and character. So basically, when we used to go to our student council way back in high school, there was already that enough trust and confidence. Um, yeah, between each other, and that is what I think the biggest investment that we had to put in order to visualize and get this barbershop to be done.
Okay. So let me go back to the origin story. So you guys talked to each other. You said like might be the right time to continue that dream that we had or that conversation that we have 5 years ago. And then what happened next?
What happened next was, uh, because during your first meeting, it was still a vague idea
Right.
as to what kind of barbershop you would want to open.
Yes.
Uh, but even before that, it has always been a challenge for me. No, not really a challenge for me, but an intriguing idea for me to challenge the status quo of the common barbershop that we see around. Yes, so especially here in the South, we we lack of better choices. I think I'd like to say yes, and we just want to come up with something that would you know offer a better alternative for those who would want to try something new and experience something better, like how a barbershop should really be, as what I've experienced in the as what I've experienced in other countries that I have been to.
Right. So you talk about how do you differentiate yourself from the current market, right?
Yes, that's
So
right.
and then you reference some of the experiences you have, and then you came up with this unique concept that's different from whatever is out there in terms of like in the service, this particular service. So what happened next? Is the idea like did you guys, how did they pitch in, or how did you build this thing?
Okay.
Because yeah.
So the timeline, okay? So first there was a coffee, then maybe I call him Do.
Serving coffee,
I call
serving
him Do.
coffee.
Yeah. So what do you think about putting a barbershop again? Are you still open to that? And then after that, I talked to
That's
Where
where
were
I
we?
came in.
where were we?
We were in Mr. A.
In Mr. A,
Yeah,
somewhere there. Yes, and
we had our dinner there.
I pitched to him the idea that Ivan and I were talking, and I think Ivan is serious about getting it done, because this kind of concept I've already pitched into some other people, but then they always most of them were just passive. But with Ivan, after I pitched to him, the following day, he already sent me some pictures like, how about this kind of barbershop? How about this? So, I sensed the interest. Yes. And so after that, and I thought to myself that maybe I have found a suitable partner with this. So I talked to Eric, and I told him, Eric, Ivan and I were talking about this. Maybe you can come in, because not to brag, Eric here has a lot of cash to burn. And no, I'm just kidding. But you know, no.
Oh yeah.
We've been close ever since.
Yeah.
So whatever business venture I want to enter, he knows, and whatever business I don't want to enter, he also knows. So I told him that I'm quite optimistic about this. Maybe you'd want to come in as well. Then
Well, when he presented the idea that this was going to be a barber shop with a lounge, immediately
You were sold with the lounge.
Immediately, yeah, I never hesitated to agree because first and foremost, coming from the province, like when I go home on the weekends, like I want to hang out somewhere. You need to chill.
Yeah.
That's when I realized that I need this one too. Like
Yeah.
I want to be a part of this. So
Okay.
let's give it a shot. Call up Ivin. Let's meet up. Yes. Without any hesitation. Immediately we just clicked.
All right. So I do have a question for each of you. Like, what's your role specifically? Are you sharing roles, or do you have specific task for each as an owner for a co-owners for?
I'm the one managing brass because Eric, as he said earlier, he has business in Asturias, and Schubert also is
A business owner as well.
managing their family business in Tabogon. So I'm managing brass.
He's our main guy. Ivin is our main guy here in Brass. Like we're just like the how do you call it?
The investors, basically.
no,
We're just behind the curtain. So like
All right. All
The main
all
man is
suggestions you throw it to Ivan.
Yes, basically.
All the comments and violent reactions throw it to
all the
Ivan.
scoldings will come from Ivan. So yes, I like to mention here that that's basically one of the, I would say, good things that happened to our partnership. Is when the first time that we met over dinner, there was no arguing at all in between us. There's only like, okay, let's set up a partnership. Okay, then how do we call this? How do you want us to call us? How do you want to call us, to call our company, to call our business? And then how do you want me to come in? Ivan, how can you come in? Eric, how can you come in? Then we shared our strengths and weaknesses, and we paired it like, well, for this kind of businesses, I'm already tied up to, since I'm already tied up with time and so on and so forth, then I can only do this much. And then the same with him. Yes, I can come up with this and like that. Then Ivan is like, okay, then I can do the rest. I mean, so it was more of like, it was not like, can you do this? Can you do that? It was more of, okay, I can do this. Then both of them also pitched in as well.
Yeah.
Basically, there was never any kind of assignment, but everything was volunteered.
Yes, volunteer.
Right. So I just like to highlight one thing, and I don't know if you caught it. When you started like drafting the people, it's always like you better be 100% in, not any less. You have to be super excited because we're excited, and if you're not excited, if you're passive, then perhaps this is a different version. Does that how it feel for you?
Yes.
It definitely did. That was how we felt, and it was like mutual between the three of us. Like, whoa,
Right.
this idea.
Make this happen. Let's make this happen.
Okay, so here's the other thing. Like in some businesses that I've looked into, a lot of the owners did their own testing, their own market research. How did you do that, or this is more of like gut instinct and your business experience came into play? Let's do it.
Good question, by the way.
Good question. 80-20, I think, or 70-30 at best. For most, 80%, I think, on gut and instinct. Yes. I think this would work out. I think this would be good. This would be a good fit, yes. Then 20% or 30%, I think we got it from our own experiences. But I haven't got this kind of service from this barbershop.
Right.
I want to experience this
You know that what you said just reminded me of Richard Branson's experience with Virgin Airlines. I don't know if you're familiar with that. At one point, he said he got tired of getting a really low
Falling in
service.
line.
Yeah, and
The
falling in
airline.
line, and he said like, well, scrap that. Let's just build
I'll make
our
my
own
own.
airline. Yeah, where a service that I really like. Is this something that resonates with you?
Yes.
The 20%.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Cool.
So we talked about the like being a unique business, right? Like, and I should mention this barbershop is exclusive for men, and
that's
yeah,
right.
so that's a very bold move, I would say, just because you're like cutting half of the society of the market, right? So it's very focused, and that's what I appreciate with some business actually when they have this specific niche where they know their market differently. And I wanna more about what the differentiation. What made you like what makes this brass really unique for the men who will come in?
Okay. Well, uh, as the barbershop as a business per se, it's not unique at all, right? Yes, it existed for centuries ago.
Everyone needs a
Everyone. Uh, there's actually a hugot behind this. Like a hugot, can I say that? A hugot behind this entire concept. Uh, you know, it's a pity for us men that only girls get to do this. When it's so easy for girls to like when they
Go to
get
a
their
salon.
when they get broken hearted or when they want to talk about talk behind someone else's back, or they want to celebrate life's mini successes. They have salons to go to, right? They change their hair like that, and for men,
Don't cry.
men don't cry, and
There's no place to cry on.
we don't
Right?
go to church when we get broken hearted. Yes, we only go to beer houses or what? Yes. So I thought of we thought of something that, maybe we could offer a better alternative, like a man cave, perhaps. So, okay, let's say we were able to put up a man cave. What would be our what would make men go there at the first place? So that's where we thought about barbershop. So basically that's it. That's why it's barbershop plus lounge, because we want people to know. We want men specifically to know that you can come in here if you want to have your hair cut, but you can also come in here if you have just got your hair done and you just want to unwind, or you want to feel the pain or some sort. You want to feel you want you're disappointed after a day's work, or you got promoted and you want to celebrate it a little after. So I think so at least they have this place to come to and visit, and and create good memories.
Yeah. So now after the differentiation aspect and defining all this, right? So you started building. So walk us through, your experience with the first customer. How does that, feel like?
Actually, as we were envisioning the concept of a barbershop and lounge, we want, as owners, we want to feel that that the service is good. So I think that's the challenge we want to pass on to our barbers and to the whole crew of brass, that we want to serve our customers as we want to be served. And
That's a really good point because
Yeah, yeah.
after all, you're not the ones facing the customers, right?
yeah,
So
it's the barbers and the whole crew of brass. So we want to our envision as owners, and uh, we want to pass it on to the barbers, that the customers should have a place to chill. Then, if they want to cut their haircut done and they want to chill, they want to grab a bottle of beer, then it's the place. It's the place to be. Yeah. That's it.
Right. So that's a really good point because like if you look at really big corporations such as like Starbucks, Jollibee, McDonald's, and even KFC, they have done a really good deal in terms of passing that concept, right? Of making customers feel good, their own flavor. And how did you? Can you talk to us like how did you? Because like for example in Starbucks I've overheard this
There's a system, right?
they have a system, but not only that, they actually tell their people like our business is not coffee, it's people, and it goes with their training. Can you talk to us how did you pass this passion, this feel like hey to each and every single barber? Did you talk to them? Is there a big meeting? Is there a training?
Basically, what we did is that we got over the common haircut. When someone goes to a barber shop and have his haircut done, it's not just the haircut. First, we make him feel at home. We give him a massage, and there comes that time then when after the haircut he has to get a shampooed and his hair gets a pomade. So basically that's the difference between us and a common barbershop. So if you'd like to add up, sure.
Just to add up a little. Well, to answer your question, what we did was basically a lot of trial and errors and reruns, like the night before we opened. So we were listing down, okay, like when a customer comes in, what's the first thing that we should do? Okay, then we put in step number one. Then after that, after the haircut, what? Shampoo, then towel, and then iced tea, and then beer. Then after that, we made a rerun. Okay, sige ba, ikaw ba? You come in and get the haircut. Okay, how does it feel? But we should insert between this and that. Welcome to brass, like some sort. So we did a lot. We did a lot of trial and errors and a lot of reruns, like on how we want our standard operations to be.
Yeah, it's really interesting because what we're talking here is a system, the process, right? And every business has that. And I've noticed that you've just built that like the night prior to the. So that's one wonderful thing about this business because it could show to our listeners that it doesn't have to be perfect at first, but you have the concept, you have a very strong concept. Your market is really clear, like men, and you pictured it out. And so I was wondering, like, just when you started until today, so you've like fairly 2 months, 3 months already. 2 months. So this is a perfect business to interview for our podcast because we're trying to show to people how to start a business. So what are like the main concerns that you didn't realize up front and you just discovered it the first few months, and that was a real thing that you should have taken care of, or what did you deal with it? How did you deal with it?
That got us thinking.
Oh, so was it like so smooth for the past few?
It wasn't. It wasn't. Well, for me, the first challenge was because in this part of the island, we were trying to, as I said earlier, challenge the status quo, and in that sense, this business concept is quite is quite different to the common barbershop. So during the first customers when they came in, at first they were shocked with the prices. Not because we are pricey, but we are to compare with the rest or with the common barbershop. Yes, we could cost a little higher, but we're not pricey. We're not mahal. We are sulit. Diba?
All right.
We're not mahal. We're sulit. Maybe that's always the first concerns in our first in our first batch of customers. Like, why are you priced this much? Do you know that it's only priced lesser in the other barbershop or where we were used to having our hair done? Then we always answer that, ma'am, we don't intend to compete with them, But not madam, but sir. You know, sir, we don't intend to compete with them.
You were talking to the wife. It's like,
There are instances.
now you
actually.
can live your like it's like saying like, ma'am, you're leaving your husband with us, and
We take care of your husband.
we take care of just. All right.
Are we being sexist, or is it the wife that always, questions the price? I don't know. I'm just kidding.
So basically, maybe you can shell out a little more than the usual, but as experienced, it's always the smiles on their faces when they exit or when they
Leave.
when they leave. So that's it. Basically, reintroducing to them the concept of what barbershop should be.
Right.
Yes, like it is not. It doesn't only involve like cutting your hair, but it involves the entire
entire
principle of pampering,
Yeah.
like the man's way. Yes,
Yeah.
so that's a challenge basically for me, from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Just to add on Schubert's quote on the price, actually it's a challenge for us for the price. As Schubert said, we are in the south side in Talisay, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first barbershop that is catering or that is pampering for men and have a lounge. So basically, when new customers arrive, they ask for a price. Then we say the price. Then we extend to explain the package, just for them to justify the 200. Yeah. So that's it. And then after their haircut, their pampering or something, I think they're quite satisfied with the service. Most of them. Yeah, most of them. I can say it's about 99% or 98%. Yeah.
Well, in my part, basically, being a retail store owner, I am quite worried because at first because with my store, I sell a product. No matter how you try to sell it, the product sells itself. Its quality, whether you presented it better, the quality itself will sell itself. But here in Brass, it's a different type of product. It's the service you cater to the customer. So it's a much more challenging aspect of the business when you're not catering a product but a service. So that's where I was really worried at first, but yeah, from retail to service, the big difference. There was really a big difference, and I was quite thrilled at first, but gradually I'm being, so this is it.
Yeah, you're able to go through with how basically the business is working.
Yes.
So talking about, you mentioned that 99% of the customers are, well, two things actually. First is you said 99% of the customers are satisfied. How do you measure that? How do you do you talk to them? Do you ask them? Is there like a survey before they go? How does it work?
Actually, we have a Facebook page, and some of our customers reviewed us.
That's good.
Yeah, and
Can you share like one of the reviews that probably that comes to mind?
some of our customers reviewed. It's a good barbershop. It's a place to chill, like something like that, and it's a place to unwind, like something. And yeah. And the most I can say, I don't know the right term. It's intriguing, but some say, other people say, it's a place where you can pamper yourself. So, and one customer also reviewed us. We actually we don't say it's a man cave because it's a barbershop and lounge. but he reviewed us as a place for man cave.
Right.
So it's a very good review for us because what we envision as owners, we want in this barbershop, came to realize.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up this particular customer, DJ. He is an American, and who visited Cebu together with his wife, and he was staying here, as he mentioned, for around 2 months. And for the entire time, he was looking for a place where he could actually waste his time on. Like, you know, he was going to Fuda all the time, and he just goes around. And when he discovered this place on the later part of his visit, he was actually, you could sense in him that, man, I mean, at last, I found a place like this in Cebu. So,
You could see the excitement written all over his face. Like he was, God, where have you been all this time? Like
That's good.
I've been looking
Yeah.
for a place like this, and here you are.
and also to answer your question earlier, well, the measure for us is at least for those who have tried already having their hair done, haircut done here, most of them do come back. So I think that's a good testament as to the kind
Return
of service
customers.
that we good. Yes.
Okay. The other question for me is like, what are your, how do you market this place? Like, yeah, because like a lot of the businesses, they have different ways of marketing themselves. But how do you market this place?
Basically, first, there's a market segmentation that's exclusively caters to men's needs. So men get the pampering, all the pampering they want here, whether it's a haircut or nail grooming, facial grooming, hair color, probably a glass or two of whiskey, beer, whatsoever. So basically, that's where we segment ourselves in the market.
And marketing this business is actually quite tricky because we cannot just come out in the world and market to everyone. Because what we want to attract here are like when you say brass, that's why this is called brass in the first place, because it refers to a certain segment of the society or certain class of the society. Like top brass of the company or top brass. It refers usually to the upper echelons of the society. So we make sure that whatever marketing we do, it's done with discernment, that it's only targeted to the top brass of the society. So that's it.
So we've heard a lot about history and how you guys started, differentiate yourselves, the expectations, the surprises, the reviews. What's your outlook? In the next few months, can you share your thoughts of where do you want this to go?
Is it okay if I start? My outlook with this business is that we still have a lot of tinkering to do. Like, this business is fun, really, because what brings the fun in this business is because you could do a lot of stuff that hasn't been done yet. So, as for now, like that's the short-term goal. Just tinker with what we have and probably add up something or
Experiment more.
Yeah, experiment more.
Yeah.
Probably get rid of something. We're in
Hopefully
that
not
sense.
partners.
Oh, yeah, of course. Definitely. So that's how I view this in the short term. Thank you.
Okay, for my part, two ways moving forward. One is, of course, to expand. First, we'll focus first on perfecting the system and how to run this business so that after this, we could bring in this experience to other places in the island, hopefully in the country. And the second is the second way is hopefully to encourage also other other people to also venture into this kind of boutique barbershop, I would say. You know, yeah. Since we only tend to cater to a certain segment, maybe they could also come up with ideas on how they can cater to other segment, like to the rockers, to the, to the gamers, or to the what. It would be fun, like for Cebu to have a. Okay, are you a gamer? You want to have your do you want to have your hair done? Okay, you go that way. Are you a rocker? You're a basketball player? Okay, you can have your haircut that store, and yeah. So basically that too.
Yeah. Actually, just to have a detailed on Schubert's explanation on regarding on the outlook. Uh, Actually, we have discussed this. We have a sort of timeline that we want to perfect the system on brass for brass talisay in 1 year time. Then after 1 year time, we want to expand.
Do you have like a target market already or a target place?
Yeah, we have, but
Okay, watch out.
watch out. After 1 year, we want to expand so that we can cater more and we can serve more clients and to have themselves pampered in Brass Barbershop.
What's so funny? I would just like to share, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we were starting to build yet, we were already talking to people about this concept, and maybe a good 3 or 4 people were already inquiring about, are you open for franchising? I mean, yes, but not yet. We still have yet to start, and we still have yet to open. So, give us time to perfect it, and hopefully, yes, we'll get there.
Just a quick question. With you're talking about perfecting the system. Are you writing all this down? How does that work? Like,
As of the moment, not yet. But we have written down notes. Ako personally, I have written down notes on what worked and what we could have done better in the first place. Yeah.
yeah, like in your meetings, like there's a place for like a lot of retrospective where you're thinking about like all these things, and does this happen? Yeah. The question is like, in your meetings, like, do you spend time on like retrospecting, thinking like, oh, what worked, what didn't work, what we can do
Okay.
moving forward?
Unfortunately, we have not yet gone to that part, but we will. And I think in most of our spare time, we've done that individually. But during our meetings, since we're still newly opened, our meetings are still focused on like problems on manpower, problems
okay.
on. So
Yeah.
we're still on the little details.
Basically, like ironing the kinks.
Yes,
right?
ironing the kinks. Yet.
Nice.
Yet.
All right. Thank you, guys. And so at this point, it's time for us also to share our takeaways. With what our guest today has shared. Dave, do you wanna start?
Yeah, so I would like to point out one valuable lesson I learned from these 3 guys, that you have to, when you start a business, you, especially with partnerships and friends, because that's sometimes is very challenging. But what I learned is that they have actually laid out before what the things that they could offer, the things that their weak parts. You should be laid out before you even start a venture together. So I think that's one takeaway that I would suggest to those people who are starting a business with friends and families, even families, right?
Yeah. To me, it is, I really like the fact that, they're defining the way they would differentiate themselves, the story, and the effect of, how the service that this place would impact the customers. I like the fact that, we have a whole good story because it's really important. It keeps your identity solid. And I really see that. And the other thing is, the fact is that talking about, a lot of people are always thinking, including myself, you cannot start because it's not perfect. And the reality is it will never be perfect. The idea is to always focus on progress and progress, not perfection. So I think you guys just display that like it might not be perfect, but we have a solid thing. I really like it. Like we're excited about this, and let's make it happen. And the reality is, you can never build a business in your head. The only business that really works is one that's established and that one that started.
Right. So let's move on to our
Lightning round. Right. So in our lightning round, it's a very quick. We have just 4 questions. You guys can answer individually, and then just very quickly. Okay. So the first question is,
who or what inspires you?
My dad.
From my travels in other parts of the world. So yes, that keeps me going.
What inspires me is my ultimate goal,
which is
which is
Come up with the most expensive bike.
yeah.
so what? How do you keep yourself motivated every single day?
I do exercise.
I
I used to be very lazy. Like, when you have plans, when you have long-term goals, you think of your health as well.
Right.
Like, how would you be able to keep up with your long-term goals if you're unhealthy?
Wow.
So I exercise. Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. What was the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, what motivates you or what keeps you motivated?
Every single day. Okay. Two answers. First is, of course, as I already have a young family, so that's a given. I always ought to provide them with better things and to let them experience the better things in life. And second is, it's always the question of how can I up the ante of Cebu, because I'm a homegrown Cebuano, so
Oh, I love
it's
that
always
answer.
like, how can I up the ante of Cebu? Like, so that's it.
What motivates you? What motivates me is I want to achieve a goal, and with this brass, with starting brass, I hope I can achieve it.
All right. Yeah. Right. So I'm down to the third question, and a lot of our listeners this is specifically targeted for Filipinos. Basically, the big picture, Philippines, of course, is for the Filipinos out there, and a lot of our brothers and sisters are working outside of the country just to provide for their family, or even here who are working 9 to 5 jobs and they're stuck with it just because they can't find another way out of it. So if they were to ask you, or we were to ask you, what is your tip to those people? Your single tip or powerful tip?
Is to start right away, point blank. No need to question yourself. Don't never doubt yourself. Just start right away. Eventually, everything will come to fold.
Wow, I love that.
After deep thinking, then you start it.
That's his point of view.
Probably you have to think it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But just
Just
start. Because once you start, that's where you begin to have an end goal.
Wow.
You can't have an end goal when you don't start. So.
Exactly.
On my part, for all of you who are listening out there, I have read this quote somewhere years ago, and it's my motto actually every time I build a business. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. So that's it basically. Don't get intimidated by the how difficult this thing could get, or how hassle it would be to get the permits, or how difficult it would be to get the right manpower, right staff, the right people. Just take the first step, and eventually you'll get there. So that's it.
Awesome. How about Ivan?
Yeah, for me, I've been working for about 7 years. For me, working as an employee, for me it's about learning the skills, and learning how to run, how to manage. And for me, building a business on your own or as a partnership, as brass, for me it's about a championship. So for me, all you have learned as an employee, you put it up in your own business.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing those insights.
Thank you, Dave.
And,
Thank you, Joseph.
The last question would be, where can people, find you guys?
Okay.
Online. All right.
The company itself.
This is your third.
Guys, you can just you can find us at Facebook. Search for Brass Barbershop plus Lounge. There you can find our beautiful faces, and with all the crew. Thank you.
All right. Anything else you want to add? All right. So thank you guys, Eric.
Please do visit us. Please do
Exactly.
visit us.
Please visit us.
Visit us.
They're located at. Can you share the location?
Second floor, South Coast Center in Barangay Linao, Talisay. Along the highway, you can see where McDonald's is, where Pagcor is, where Fuda is. We are right beside Sun Life on the second floor, and please check us out.
Yes, and you can see pictures of what's inside. Their drinks. They have a very wonderful list of drinks here, so do check them out. If you're a man, and even if you're single or not, you can go here. So thank you so much for your time, Eric, Schubert, and
Thank you,
Ivin.
Dave. Thank you, Joseph.
And you can find this is episode 12, and you can find the show notes at thebigpicture.ph/episode 12. And this is on YouTube. You can find this on YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe us, hit subscribe button, and you'll find a lot more content like this in our channel. So peace out. I'm Dave.
And Joseph.
Long live the big picture.
All right. Signing
See you
off.
guys.